This episode of Out of Spec Reviews is brought to you by Magna. More on that later. Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. Welcome to the start of the hill climb here at I-70, which means yes, it is time for the Hogback Driver Assistance Challenge, this time and for the first time with a Tesla. Now we have run about 5 or 6 vehicles in this test so far, and our goal is to create the most standardized driver assistance test we can. So we can look at Tesla stuff versus Honda stuff versus Hyundai stuff. And so essentially we have developed the Hogback Driver Assistance Challenge, which is a 30-mile loop, 1,500 feet of elevation halfway, then we lose it coming back down. So we touch about 8,000 feet, 50 corners in this test. Not an easy challenge. And finally, we're getting to run a Tesla in this challenge. Now, this particular Tesla is a brand new 2022 Model 3 Performance with the vision-only standard autopilot. So this is the standard equipped car with the standard included autopilot. We're gonna try all the different versions, of course. Our goal is to test every car we can with driver assistance. And speaking of that, we actually recently ran a Rivian R1T in this test, which I think is winning right now. It did the best, objectively and subjectively, in my opinion. Funny enough, there's one right over there. And there's also an F-150 in front of it. And if you're an avid viewer of Out of Spec Reviews, you know we've compared 2 of those trucks a lot, towing, a whole bunch of stuff. And now they're doing the being towed challenge. You can see they're both on the trailer, seeing which one rides better behind the truck. Let's go run the Tesla in the challenge. So let me tell you a little bit about the test, but also the car. So this is a completely standard, right off the shelf, 2,000 mile odometer reading or so, Tesla Model 3 Performance. The only thing that's changed is the wrap, which does not affect the results today. One of the reasons I wanted to do this car right now is it's owned by my friend Drew, who owns Martian Wheels. And he's gonna put, obviously, his own wheels, tires, suspension, who knows, roll cage. He's going crazy with this thing. So I was like, hey, Drew, before you modify the hell out of this car, let us borrow it and run a stock car in this test. And one of the reasons I wanted that was Autopilot definitely seems to be behaving differently depending on the tires you have on your car. So we're gonna try and use as many cars with their stock standard configuration. Now, another thing to mention is Autopilot is the system that I am most comfortable with, that I understand the most, that I have spent the most amount of time with. So it's been really fascinating to run all of these other cars in this test, from the Volkswagen Golf R to a Rivian R1T, the Hyundai Santa Cruz, the Honda Civic, and there's one more, Porsche Taycan. And we've never run a Tesla before just because of scheduling. We had those cars for a short period of time. Now we're gonna start running some Teslas through. The next video you'll see will be that Mercedes GLS getting run in the challenge with Distronic Plus and all that cool stuff. And so, you know, I've done probably almost 200,000-300,000 miles with Autopilot, and it gets updates and changes. So we're gonna let you know the update. We're gonna basically walk you through the video. What we're gonna do first is we're gonna go out on our little test loop road over here and see what happens when we don't pay attention, when we don't touch the steering wheel. How does the car safely, I guess, either bring us to a stop, in theory, let's hope, or get our attention. Then we're going to tally up all the points we get from the safety score and all of the points that it can earn ahead of time from other factors such as safety and usability. And then we're gonna go out on the Hogback, up this road here, I-70, 30 miles, 50 corners, and you will join us for the entire thing. At the end of the video, we'll tally up the final score, and there's a link to the spreadsheet in the description of this video with all of the numbers so you can compare this against others. But keep in mind, it's very hard to create a real-world, truly objective test because there's so many variables. That's why this is more of a review, and we try and quantify some of the components with our own rating system. So let's jump in, see what happens, when we don't touch the steering wheel and then tally up the points. You join me back at the office with these incredible views to thank Magna. Now, Magna is a technology company that produces not only parts for cars, but also technological solutions from manufacturing and design and engineering. They cover so many parts of the automotive sector, and I bet you've interacted with a Magna product in your life before. Magna actually is very near and dear to my heart because their partnership, Magna Steyr in Austria, produced my first car, a Mini Countryman, and it was built right there in Graz. A lot of you are also familiar. Magna is going to be producing the Fisker Ocean in their Magna Steyr factory, and they also build G-Wagons, and nothing gets tougher than a G. So really excited about our partnership with Magna, of course. They are also hiring for engineers, so we know a lot of you guys are super interested in technology and automotive. I'll leave a link below so you can learn more about possible opportunities at Magna, but of course we want to thank them for sponsoring today's video and being such a huge supporter of Out of Spec. Truly, they are pushing mobility forwards responsibly and sustainably. You're now cruising with us on autopilot at about 30 miles an hour. There's no one coming from behind. I'm taking my hands off the wheel. The goal here is to see what the car will do to get our attention. We're going to look at the takeover ramp down strategy. Now, one thing I will mention is you'll see this little camera right here in the car, and it actually will use it from time to time if I look away to get my attention to look forward. Specifically, if you look at a phone or something like that, I just find it's very, very sensitive. So it is doing some kind of internal eye tracking. But right now, no warnings. It's cruising around on autopilot just fine without issue. And thankfully no one behind us for days, which is great. Now, I can't adjust the speed or anything because anytime you interact with the steering wheel or the stalks, it tells the car that you're paying attention. But this is going a really long time. Yeah. There's our first warning. Apply slight turning force to the steering wheel, and we now have this blue flashing. And, you know, this is just something I'm used to seeing out of the corner of my eye, and put more torque in. And usually by this point, when it starts freaking out, flashing more, I'm like, good to go. There's the first ding. There should be 2 more, and then it will shut off. And I think, let's see. It's getting angrier and angrier at us. This is, I think, one of the longest it's gone. There we go. A double ding. And there we go. It says unavailable for the rest of the drive. It's coming to a hard stop. Hazards on. Full stop. And now it's in brake hold with the hazards on.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. That's, I think, probably like the standard. Some things I wish it would do. Yank the seatbelt. Buzz the seat, although there's no motors in the seat, but it could yank the seatbelt in theory. It could beep the horn on the outside of the car. And we do give points for cars pulling over the shoulder, but no car does that today. Yeah. And so I think it's actually safer that it doesn't pull to the shoulder and it just stops in lane until technology gets better. But again, we tried to future-proof this test a little bit, and it'll get adapted over time. So honestly, not bad. But the other benefit here is it will not let me use autopilot until I cycle the car. Now, there's a quick trick to that for all of you expert autopilot users, or expert not using autopilot correctly users, which is, I will show you really quick. You full ABS brake off the side of the highway, put it in park, seatbelt off, take your weight out of the seat, open the door, or just cycle the charge port, put it back in, and go. And then you can use autopilot again. The one I usually do is just cycle the charge port. Not that that's ever happened to me in the real world.
Welcome to the Hogback on the inside of the 2022 Tesla Model 3, almost said S, Model 3 Performance. We're going to take it out.
Do we have enough range to do this, actually? We're at 23%, which is 71 miles predicted.
Plenty. We're downhill the whole way back.
Yeah, the whole way back. As long as we can make it to the top, we'll charge the whole way down.
So, yeah, let's see.
By the way, state of charge does not affect autopilot.
Exactly.
Unless you're like really low and it can't give it full power, but we're not getting that low.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be fine. But yeah.
Walk us through the points.
Points. Capacitive wheel, no.
No capacitive wheel. Doesn't earn any points.
In fact, this may go under our editor's input, our subjective input. The torque on this wheel is terrible.
It's gotten better.
Oh, it has?
Yeah.
Okay, torque on your wheel is terrible.
Well, that has this software now.
Oh.
Software updates
is amazing.
Well, it's amazing and terrible because your car can get worse or better. Case in point, this UI.
Yeah, we can't really see the state of charge, but we know it's there.
Like, why is it so tiny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Driver safety eye tracking. Does that count? Yes.
But only for safety.
Not yet. So it's not hands-free eye tracking. So
right.
It could have gotten 10 points if it had been hands-free.
Right, but it's not hands-free. But this does ding at you if you look away.
Yep.
Only in Model 3 and Y, not S and X.
Yeah, yet. Limited to pre-mapped highways, no. Gauge cluster shows cars around. Yes, Tesla almost did it in Pioneer, but they did pretty well.
Yep.
Lane centering only on pre-mapped. Nope, you can do it anywhere. Proper. So adapting the speed limits, does it adapt to speed limits?
It can adapt to speed limits. And there's a setting, if I go here to Autopilot, and I can say offset as a +5 mph.
That is
the one
great.
thing I don't recall on the highway is if it drops, if the speed drops. So I think it doesn't. I think that's just for when you turn it on.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say no, but we'll just double check.
Yeah.
But I've never seen it do it really, other than like back roads where it's limited to 5 over the speed limit on non-divided highways.
Yeah.
By the way, because this is a vision only car, it only does 80 miles an hour, which is incredibly frustrating around here.
And even worse so in the Southwest, where speed limits are 80, 85.
Yes.
Yep. And then adaptive system aggressiveness. Does this let you?
Nope.
Nope.
Well, that's not true. Adaptive system aggressiveness is only if you get FSD, where you can put it to like Mad Max for lane changes and stuff like that. This does not do any automatic lane changes.
So this does not have FSD.
It does not have FSD package.
Yep. So no lane changes. So that's it. And then the warnings for the driver unresponsive, which we have our own little video clip for. Are we doing that now? When do we insert that?
You tell me.
Yeah, right now.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're unresponsive in a Tesla Model 3, it does not yank the seatbelt or shake the seat.
Take the sheets.
No exterior horn. It does do hazards, which is great, and it brings you to a complete stop. Steering does not let go without warning, and it does not pull over to the shoulder. So
just for reference, because some people will only watch this because we're doing a Tesla.
Yeah.
Some other systems will just go, oh, you're off, and then like into a guardrail.
They just give up.
It's sketchy.
Yeah, very dangerous.
So this is, I would say, safe.
So we are starting off with a positive of 11 points.
Wow.
So now we go drive.
So basically the way this point system works is we're going to drive the car. We're in just normal mode, by the way, just so everyone knows. We're at a little bit lower state of charge because I'm doing a charging test after this, but we have just everything kind of in normal-ish driving settings. The way this system works, or this test works, is we subtract different points based off of different types of situations where we have to take over.
Yep.
And would you like to explain the 3 different points of subtraction that can happen throughout this test, and pretty much has happened on almost every car we've tested?
Yeah, so we deduct a point if Kyle has to take over for safety, like if the car is just not in the lane properly and he has to take it over and correct it. We deduct 2 points if it auto disengages the system with a warning. It's letting you know, hey, we can't do this. And then we deduct 3 points if there's a disengagement with no warning at all. So that's how we will lose our current 11-point total.
Whoa, what's sliding around back there?
Oh, that's the box of cameras.
Right, so Autopilot has a little bit of a different strategy than other systems, which we'll talk about here. And it's actually one that I think we're both pretty used to.
Yep.
And I think it's one we both kind of actually really like.
Yeah.
Autopilot is one of the best things about Tesla. And not because I think it's ever going to be full self-driving or whatever that means. Full power, insanely fast.
Oh, yeah.
But we've got to save range.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get to the speed limit. We got to be engaged. We're going to have to make a quick maneuver here. So I'm getting us into this lane, full power. We got to lock in. And we're going back to the right lane here in a second. We're going a little bit faster just because of this guy in the truck. I don't want to hold him up. Now we're set at the speed limit. Ooh, on the system.
Whoa.
There we go.
A little bit of issues there, but yeah, I'm excited to run this.
That's not the car's fault. That was on me.
I'm excited to run this test because Tesla, like you said, is like one of the staples in the business. At least everyone knows of Autopilot and and full self-driving, and even though both those names can be questionable, but this is what a lot of people benchmark things against. So now it's doing our benchmark.
Right. Well, so this is in my mind, the benchmark driver assistance system because it's so competent at so many different scenarios. Now, it's not perfect.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of issues I have with Autopilot. For example, the software in Autopilot yesterday, I was doing a range test on this, completely just totally shut off. Also, I hate that we're just next to a truck right now.
We'll lose him in the straights.
Yeah, well, he's wide open throttle, right? Because we're on a climb, and we have to go the speed limit. And so it's just a little bit frustrating.
Yep.
So that's all part of the test, and running it real world is...
And you've had some phantom braking issues up in Fort Collins, or is it that stretch of 25 highway?
Yeah, with the camera and radar only cars. So we've spoken to a lot of radar owners, or sorry, camera only owner cars, and they complain about significantly higher amounts of phantom braking, which we'll get to in a second. Let me just walk you through the system and how it's feeling to me. It's very sensitive to torque when you put it on in a corner, which I don't recall from my system. Normally lock it on. Purple Prius, by the way, awesome. We're a little bit under the speed limit. We're in traffic. That's part of the test. It is what it is. Uh-oh. We're having some issues with our Autopilot camera angle here. Jordan, you may just have to hold it.
Yeah, I'm just going to do that.
Yeah. So when you do a lane change in this base level of Autopilot without full self-driving, you have to initiate the turn signal, which keeps the system on, but it does make the effort to take over really tiny. So you can just gently lean into the steering wheel, and now, we've merged over. And then to re-engage, you pull down twice on this stalk. It's the exact same moment or movements that we found with Rivian, and it's actually extremely natural in my opinion. However, there used to be an option called Enhanced Autopilot, which was truly wonderful. I just want to see what it'll do here. And it goes down the middle, and normally this would be a -1 because I have to pull us back to the left. So there's a -1 right off the bat because it treated that single lane as a wide lane, but it was technically 2 going to 1. Should have hugged the left.
Which Tesla seems to do a lot.
Teslas do seem to go hard right in a lot of scenarios. We're going to run middle lane through this section like we normally do, and then we'll merge to the right up ahead. So when you do the turn signal lane change situation, exit light, you got to re-engage. Other systems are different than Autopilot, where this system doesn't allow you to make any adjustments in lane when you're on Autopilot. It's either you're doing what Autopilot wants or you're doing what you want.
Yeah.
A lot of other systems kind of still operate in the background even though you've maneuvered the car around. So if I need to merge to the right of the lane, I can break free of the system and go. Now, you and I have a couple issues with the torque input of Autopilot typically. The first was the torque required to tell the car you're paying attention, and I'll show you that right now. And I think that has improved massively. So watching the road, hands are covering the wheel. This is a system designed to operate with your hands on the wheel at all time without question. That's just what you have to do. And you'll see those people put Autopilot buddies around and everywhere, and we just can never recommend anything like that. So I'm waiting for it to come up with a warning to touch the steering wheel. It is a dynamic-based warning based off of driving situation, where your eyes are with this camera watching you, and a few other situations. And so you see it says, apply slight turning force. Very gentle amount of force.
Nice.
Which is a huge
better.
improvement.
It used to be frightening.
But the issue still with the system, oh, nice e-tron GT going by.
RS, yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah, spicy one. The issue with this system still, by the way, that car looks amazing with that backdrop. Wow. And I'm not usually an e-tron GT fan.
I am.
We're going to merge to the right lane. I'm going to show you this. Don't deduct any points because I'm demonstrating. To take torque out of the wheel, you see our trajectory as soon as it broke free?
It jumped over.
It jumps because you have to put, I wish we could actually put a little torque sensor on this. You have to put a lot of force into it to break free of the system, and then you already have like inertia to turn the steering wheel. And that's where things get dangerous. Here,
that
did a pretty good job.
So the visualization jumped over to swallow the lane, but the car stayed straight.
Well, this is one of the hardest corners coming up here.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm really curious to see what it does. Many systems I thought that would fail here just follow the left line instead of going wide. I don't know what Autopilot will do. So I'm here, ready to take over, not applying any input. It's all up to the car. Let's see what happens. This is a tricky one. What's it gonna do? Hugging left, Whoa, a little confusion. Pull back to the left.
Did
Wonderfully.
it. Nice.
Good job. I bet older versions of Autopilot would have.
Yeah.
So we're having to do a lot of lane changes. It's 1 p.m. on a Thursday. And so there's just traffic, I guess, whenever we do this. It's part of the test.
Including that purple facelifted Gen 3 Prius lowered.
I think it's just filled up with people. It's
That
not
could
actually
be, yeah.
lowered. Yeah, so the system essentially locks in, and then you have to pull yourself out to lock out. Autopilot is truly wonderful, but people abuse this system more than any other out in the marketplace.
Partially, too, because it's just the most common system. This is like...
You think? I don't think it's the most common driver assistance system, do you?
I guess until recently when everyone's starting to add it. But
Pretty much every new car has lane centering.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would be curious about the numbers.
Yeah. But it's definitely one of the most competent in most scenarios.
It's the one that leads to the most false sense of security.
Yeah.
Because it's so good 99% of the time.
Yep.
In my experience, and then it just takes one time for it to mess up, and you see these guys on TikTok and they're in the back seat, and it's just like, don't do any of that stuff.
Sketchy.
Whoa, that Audi pulling some moves up there. I don't know what they were doing. But this system is so good that it can make a long trip possible where it would not have been without the system.
Yeah.
Because it allows you to generally keep an eye aware of your surroundings. If you use it properly, I would say it's even safer than driving manually.
Yeah.
Because you're keeping an eye on all of your surroundings. Here's what happens. It goes, the dotted lines are gone, big lane, merging over.
Yeah.
It's a -1.
Yep.
It's a -1.
Wow.
And I had Tesla commenters saying, it doesn't do that anymore. Well,
Still does.
it's on the newest software update. By the way, we should share what software we're on, which is
11.0.
2022.12.3.1
Nice.
as of today. And we'll continually do this test.
Yeah. That's the crazy thing about cars now. You can buy a car and it'll change.
It'll change, yes. But I would say in the majority of cases with Tesla, it gets significantly better.
Yeah.
But with this new software, it got significantly worse.
Yeah.
But I've been very pleased over my many years of Tesla ownership. Just seeing the cars go from old school to today has been a massive improvement. The other thing, as I was saying, Autopilot is just make long trips. What am I trying to say? Long trips
better, yeah.
Better, more relaxing. And all you really do is you just sit back, you cruise, you keep your hand here on the wheel, you're watching what's going on, and you're ready to take over if it messes up. And let me tell you, I have been in countless situations where the car messes up. But that's not the car's fault. It's designed here as a driver aid, and in crazy situations, I'm prepared to maneuver the car around whatever obstacle is happening. Whether it's a police car that's half in the shoulder on the right lane, whether it's a construction zone with a barrier that the car can't quite pick up, it's not perfect, and I don't expect it to be perfect.
Yeah.
And you can't expect it to be perfect either, because that's how you get killed.
Yeah.
Genuinely. So, great system though.
Yeah, so now we'll see how it does on the curves, because we're coming up to the tighter sections.
Right, so this test starts at pretty mild and increasingly gets harder as we go on.
To the halfway point, and then the same hardness decreases, yeah.
Right, absolutely. And what would you say about Autopilot? What's your impression? It's standard equipment on this car, which is wonderful.
Yeah, I appreciate that, because a lot of cars do have optional driver assist, even partial ones. Of course, with this, you can get Autopilot as standard, but then you can also get the FSD Suite Beta, whatever it's called, which I don't think would be worth it.
It's $12,000 today, and the only real benefit to me would be lane changes.
Yeah,
lane change.
That is nice.
What's it going to do here? Let's see. Perfectly staying in its lane.
Nice.
It's definitely improving with software updates.
Yeah, which is great.
Yep.
But I really like it, and that was the first time I drove your car. It was the first time I think I tried Autopilot, and it was alarming the torque needed for the wheel. But it's great to know that they've improved that.
They've improved it for sure, absolutely. But the torque inputs do change like every update.
Yeah.
Like I can feel little things every single software update, even if it doesn't say it, that they're tweaking and playing around with.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
This car, by the way, is a 2022 with the double pane front glass.
Nice. nice.
It's quieter,
yep,
but not the quietest.
no, it's still a road trip machine though, for sure.
Yeah, still a great road tripping car. I've done cross country many times in Model 3s, and they're fantastic.
Yep.
And this car did 280 miles on a single charge at 70 miles an hour.
Really good.
What is
the EPA on the newest?
315.
Okay.
So typically Teslas never match their EPA highway.
But that's decently
But
close.
this is, I would say, decently close. I agree. We're just going to preemptively move over, and my lane change is so natural to me, I don't even think about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's as I'm grabbing the wheel to put in torque, I'm pushing the signal one way or another. Here comes the Model 3 Performance. Yeah, dad. What's his license plate?
I don't know, but he took off his badge, his dual motor badge.
Yeah, that's cool. D badge, but it definitely was a Performance because it had the brakes.
Yeah.
Going for a pass here, back on the system. Doo-doo, doo-doo. You hear that a ton.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're going to go, of course, we're going to drag race this truck down the hill. Nature of the test. We apologize to the state of Colorado for getting stuck behind us. Let's just let it do this corner and then we'll merge over. Although there's more traffic up ahead, but we still need to merge over. Now this guy's passing us on the right. So here's where it drops. Oh, it's actually dropped to 55 already. I apologize. So we need to lower our speed, but it's did this wonderfully. So if it can do it at
65, we can do it. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And yep, so we're just slowing down a little bit here, and we always run cars at the speed limit is the goal. So it definitely does not adapt to speed limits on the highway. Nope. Yep. Man,
but really competent.
It feels like you could do like 90 through here on autopilot, and it would just be fine.
Yeah.
I remember last year when I had the studded Nokian winter tires on my Tesla Model 3, and amazing tire, incredibly aggressive, but it's a studded hardcore winter tire. It has a lot of not good response. Autopilot was just like turning and turning and turning, and the car wasn't, and it would just freak out.
Yeah, tires are a big deal.
Tires really affect how driver assistance systems perform massively.
Yeah, we could have the option to try a bunch of different sizes of Martian wheels and different sidewall tires, and
maybe in the extreme challenge.
Yeah.
So this is a car that's going to complete the normal hogback just fine.
Oh yeah.
So it's going a little wide and then cuts over. That was not so great.
Nope.
Compared to other cars there, that was not so great. Let's see what it does here, because it gets pretty wide on the right side. Truck on the left. It's hugging the left side. Oh, a little bit of tuck in there.
Yeah.
It's a little unnatural feeling.
Better than I expected, but it doesn't give me confidence over here in the passenger seat.
Right, it definitely is like, oh.
Yeah.
It does the like, oh my God, I didn't look far enough forwards. This, I think, is the toughest corner of the entire test. So let's see how it does. So far, so good. Literally not even a single hint of hesitation. Wow.
Impressive.
Impressive. So good.
Yeah.
So good. Great driver assistance. I knew Tesla was going to do well in this test. Did I know they were going to do this well? No. Really curious to run my radar car later.
Yeah, exactly.
In a future video, we're going to run the original Model 3, my Performance 2019, with the radar cone and see if it makes much of a difference. We're going a little bit under the speed limit, but not worth passing for right now.
Yep, coming up on our halfway point.
Yep, on our halfway turnaround. 15% state of charge. Plenty.
Oh yeah. This is when some people would be freaking out looking for superchargers.
I went almost 20 miles past zero yesterday because they have that 3 kilowatt-hour buffer.
That's right, yeah.
Maybe it wasn't 20, maybe it was 15 miles, but it was a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
But the car was dead.
Wow.
Like real dead. Like I plugged in and only did 1 kilowatt to pull it off pack voltage. Will it take the exit ramp for us?
I thought about it.
I would say that's a -1, but we're going to pull off. And so it's not a -1 because it didn't take the exit ramp. It's actually because it was going over there and it did the, oh crap, let me move back over. It's nice when it does just take the exit for you, some systems.
Yeah.
So now we're just regenning down. One of the best powertrains, if not the best powertrain tuning in the entire business. Tesla is dominant in the electric field for good reason.
It is funny because the first one-pedal drive I ever experienced was Mustang Mach-E.
Oh, not a good one.
And I was like, Kyle, this is awesome. And you're like, hold that thought. Here's my car.
The Mach-E is not good one.
And I was like, oh, that's what it's supposed to feel like. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, this guy's doing the same thing as the Hogback in the truck.
Nice.
Getting on, going south. Why would, or west, east? I'm all confused.
East.
He's
yeah.
going east.
Yeah, but he did a U-turn.
He did a U-turn. Why?
Not sure. Testing out his truck.
Yep. In the Hogback. It's the new industry standard
Yeah.
for trucking driver assistance.
Yeah, I guess we never mentioned the reasoning behind the name, but Hogback is the name for the geological formation of like small mountain ridges.
Yeah,
so
like
this,
tiny ones.
Yeah, so this starts at what's called the Dakota Hogback, and we actually start in the Woolly Mammoth parking lot, named so because of all the fossils that they've dug up in the area. So just naming it for Colorado's sake.
Okay, well actually I think we're going to stay behind this guy because he's hammering. We have to kick it on here at the speed limit sign at 55, and I think he's going to be doing pretty good. Also, can't really pass with all this traffic, so I mean, I don't expect the system to have too many issues.
No, if it did it that well coming in, we should be.
Yeah. After this Tahoe, I think I'll hop in the left lane and go around this guy. There we go. Left lane. There we go. Back up to speed.
Now it's definitely these turns right here are tighter, and there's some undulations on this side of the road especially that we've seen other systems struggle with.
Yeah, sometimes systems can do better coming up than going down. But the sun's in the perfect spot right now. I'm going to let it complete this corner, and then I'll make a lane change back to the right, because this is where we've seen tons of systems just say, give up and go straight.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Porsche and Hyundai. And that's really freaking sketchy. And part of it's because the lines are gone right here.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So let's see what Autopilot does. Car on the left. Literally didn't even phase it.
Wow. That's the best I think I've seen right there.
Literally didn't even phase it. And we should move over for this cop. So we're going to in the left lane, and then I'll pull us back over to the right. Nice F-150 police spec.
Yeah.
Locked back
Just
on.
Truck pulling over truck.
Man, this is where Autopilot shows its dominance compared to everyone.
Yeah.
Doesn't require pre-mapped highways and silky smooth around these corners, and just is the standard.
Yep.
Without question.
So what is your opinion on them going full vision?
Okay, so I guess my user experience opinion is I really don't care how they do it as long as it does it well, repeatably, and safely.
Yep.
And so if it is measurably no difference to take radar out, then there you go. But I will say, big pothole, I will say it doesn't avoid potholes, even though Elon said it would one day. It doesn't. Otherwise we wouldn't be in this stream of potholes.
He has said a lot of things.
He does say a lot of things. But I also love that people tweet at Elon like he actually like...
Yeah.
Well,
Elon, we need this on our car.
Or he's like in the
DM.
I don't think he's working on half the things people think he's working on. He's got a big team. There's thousands of people at Tesla.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you asking me? I totally forgot.
Yeah, vision.
Oh, vision only.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable in the sense, which is like, why not just have the backup data?
Yeah. That's most people's reaction is why not have redundant sensors for safety.
And I understand that like people will just say that because maybe it's actually not beneficial to have the redundant data.
Yeah.
But we have asked every industry expert I can find. We're lucky we get to work at a whole bunch of different automakers. We get to meet the guys. We get to talk to all the different driver assistants and self-driving company startups and stuff.
Yep.
And they're all going LiDAR, radar, vision, the whole suite. And Tesla is clearly taking a very different approach to move forwards. And everyone says that this is not the way. But then Tesla says this is the way. So who do we believe? I don't know. I actually don't really care either way, as long as
it works.
Well, I hit the brakes by accident. That wasn't the car. And the other nice thing about the system is it will never just give up without warning. It will do everything it can to try and complete a maneuver while screaming at you to take over.
Yeah.
And this is no challenge for it.
Which is good.
Yep.
Even though all systems are meant to be used as a driver aid, you're still driving. it is nice that this one really wants to make sure you're in control.
I don't think we can ignore the fact that people will be lazy on these systems.
Totally.
Automakers may be able to, in communication, say, keep your hands on the wheel and just talk about the proper use of the system. I know everyone who owns a Tesla does not pay full attention. Even my mom, when she had her Tesla, didn't pay full attention on Autopilot. Now, that's not to say that they were using the system in like a reckless manner, but I would say they were definitely on the dangerous side of using it, because even if your eyes are over here on a phone, for example, they really should be up over this way.
Yeah.
And this system is so good. Its only flaw is that it is so good that it leads to a false sense of security.
Too good. Yeah.
And how do you explain to the end user buying this car off their phone online that, let's see what it does here really quick. Oh, going to the right, going left, going right, and touches, went too far, -1. But I'm going to keep it on the system.
Little drunk.
Little drunk. Not the way it should be there.
Yeah.
And my brain isn't working today. Oh, dangerous stuff, basically. Yeah. So that I don't know why Tesla doesn't do more to explain how to use the system safely.
Yeah.
Because the system can be safe if used properly, and it can be recklessly dangerous if used improperly.
Yeah.
And I tend to think that there are certainly people out there who are buying these that have no clue of the proper usage. It's one thing to say, I know how I should use the system, and I'm actively choosing to not use it that way.
Yeah.
If for those people, Tesla can do more to prevent that from happening, which they're not.
Yeah.
So I think that issue doesn't make any sense to me. Like, there's more driver monitoring that can be done other than a torque sensor, and now this little camera's in better, not great.
Yeah.
But then it's like, there are people buying these that genuinely think it just drives itself.
It's partially the terminology. People hear the word autopilot and they think, oh, it automatically pilots it for me.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. I mean, it doesn't help that that's called that. But I think, like, most people buying these are pretty tech focused. And
yeah. And I think a lot of people understand that it's from the airline industry, and autopilot, it's not going to like completely fly the plane for you. It's just helping the pilot.
It's just a controversial system in general, and in my opinion, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
It can just be stellar, which it is, obviously, based off of this test, the benchmark for just completing this wonderfully. Because the Rivian came in with a 1.
Yeah, so it's our only positive score to date.
Right, the Rivian is as close to autopilot as any other car we've tested so far. Again, who knows what can happen for the rest of this test? But so far, this thing's at, what, a 7 right now?
7.
Yeah, insane.
Genuinely good. Yeah, the Rivian, what was working against it was honestly the size of the truck. I mean, some of that can attribute to how it does on the test. And so we'll see, how HDA, for example, like Hyundai Santa Cruz we already did. Now we're going to do it in a Ioniq 5.
It did that wonderfully.
Yeah.
Nice Defender coming up, and then we'll duck in behind him. Oh, that is a good-looking Defender. Nice thing also about Autopilot is obviously works in great stop and go. I can adjust the distances from 2. Why isn't it going to 1?
Is that a new change?
I don't know. My car goes to 1.
You can go all the way to 7. Oh, wow.
Yeah, 7. And it's not like a 7 car lengths. It's a time-based calculation, of course. And it is dynamic based on speed. It's also like the smartest system, I think, that takes in more factors than any other system out there. For example, if you're coming up on an exit ramp or an on-ramp, it leaves a little bit of room in case cars need to merge around.
Yeah.
And it feels a little bit awkward until you realize what it's doing. And it's factoring in, like, cars that might merge in, so cut-in stuff responds so much better. It scooches over if you're next to a truck. Early Autopilot used to have truck lust, where it would get close. Yeah. Now it has truck scooch. And so, yeah, just like so many different factors coming in here, does a really good job. Took years to get to this point. But even back in 2014, like, I'd love to find a non-updated AP1 car. I bet it would still crush this test.
That would be really interesting, yeah.
AP1 was the jam.
If you have one in Colorado, let us know.
Yeah, if you have an AP1 Tesla in Colorado, bring it over. We want to run it in this. So it's really, going to be these two types of sensor or driver assistance strategies in this test, I think.
Yeah.
It's going to be the are you locked in ones, which seem to be great, and is it going to be the true assistance ones that are there just to kind of keep you in the middle of the lane under straight lines?
Yeah.
Honda Civic was really good. And that was not like this. That was a helpful assistance one.
Yeah.
Wow, this is...
Didn't Rivian switch the controls on follow distance? Like the wheel, didn't it? Like do the reverse of Tesla or something?
It does the reverse of Tesla.
Yeah. Weird.
Which is, this is speed and this is distance.
Huh.
11% state of charge.
Yep, still going strong.
Still going. This thing is a freaking
it's like
monster.
What could possibly take points away at this point? It's so it's done the hardest part.
We can't merge over because there's a car there, so again, it's a real world thing. But you know, I think people try and knock Autopilot all the time. They say it's a stupid system, and I don't disagree for certain things. A, Tesla could do more to prevent tampering and idiot usage. B, should they?
Yeah.
Because the terms and conditions are somewhere in the car. And I actually kind of like that you can be a little bit rowdy with Tesla stuff.
Yeah.
And they do not operate like other automakers with lawyers. But I do think when it comes to like Autopilot safety, they need to be a little bit more stringent, in my opinion. And maybe like a lot of it more stringent. And then also, you know, some people will criticize it. I, as a heavy user of the system, love the system.
Yeah.
And I'm selling my Model 3 tomorrow.
It's crazy.
I mean, the videos will go up out of sync.
You've done so many miles on that thing.
And honestly, we're not going to own a Tesla for a short period because we're buying some other cars. But I'm really going to miss Autopilot more than anything, more than the charging network.
Yep.
More than the app integration, more than the software updates. I'm going to miss how great this thing is cruising for long distance with Autopilot.
Yeah.
It's so much less fatiguing than any other system. And part of it's because it factors in so many conditions. You can see it slows down way early for this truck. The one thing standard Autopilot doesn't do, which I really wish it did, you see I had to apply throttle there.
Yeah.
When you hit your turn signal in cars like the Taycan, with HDA, with others, it will automatically speed up before you clear the path of the car in front.
And this doesn't?
This does not on standard Autopilot.
Oh, okay.
If it did that, it would make the need for auto lane changes even less.
Yeah.
Because the Teslas with automatic lane change function, enhanced Autopilot and full self-driving cars, and AP1 cars, you click the turn signal and it starts speeding up before you even clear the vehicle path in front.
Yeah.
And it makes a much more natural lane change to the left. And this is like, you hit the turn signal, as soon as the front path clears, then it's, and it's a little bit too hard on the throttle in those scenarios.
I'd love to take an FSD car on this test.
Well, we will, but I don't think it makes too much of a difference in the highway stuff. What's it going to do here? It figured it out. No point deduction, but it definitely felt unnatural.
It thought about it.
It did think, oh, am I supposed to go over there? It just seems like it's looking about like 6 feet in front of the bumper.
Yeah.
And not enough ahead.
Yeah, it's not using like the neural learning capabilities as much.
And honestly, I don't know if we've seen much of that, to be honest.
No.
You know, everyone thought they were training the neural net back in like 2014, and then when Autopilot 2 came out in 2016, they're like, oh, the more we drive on Autopilot, the better it gets. And then what was it last year? They're like, oh, we're going to scrap all the data anyway and do something different. It's just like, that doesn't work. Winnebago Revel up there, very nice. That was the color we almost got. So it's hugging the outside a little bit. Wish we were closer to the inside of the corner here.
Yeah.
But it's doing it. Yeah. By far the new benchmark. But again, you have to factor in the price. This car's 60 grand.
That's true.
You can get a base one with the same system for 40 grand.
The Civic was really good for 30.
The Civic was 20 something.
29, yeah.
Yeah, and then I think you can get that system on an even baser car.
Yeah.
So like that, when you factor price, is like, okay, if a Civic can do that,
you could buy inexpensive, good road tripping cars, basically.
Right. That's where we've reached the point where the technology is in everything now.
Yep.
And this is definitely better than the Civic, from not only my subjective opinion, but also the points scale. This is by far, I think, the peak. What I'm really curious, though, is how is this going to compare to my radar car?
Yeah, that's going to be apples to apples, just about.
And I wanted to start with the vision-only car because this is the new thing. It's what people are buying. But we have the radar car with the same base hardware, same Model 3 performance.
Yep.
We're running it on the same day on the same software.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that video coming up. We're almost at the end of our test, a couple more corners.
So yeah, do you have any editor's input to add, like subjective points based on things?
Just +1 point because it's so good.
I like it.
And I think -1 point also because to take over the steering requires a lot of torque input that jerks the car.
Yeah.
And it's better than it used to be, but I have been in dangerous situations with Alyssa driving where she's put too much in and we started sliding on a wet road.
Yep.
So let's see what happens here. This is our exit we need to take. It's hugging the inside. Oh, it thought about it for a second, but did it perfectly. We pull off at the last second, as always.
Nice.
And regen down to charge the battery. So I still think the popping off the torque is dangerous. You know what? -2 points. Because we literally almost stuffed a car for it. But then again, just its capabilities, its you know, I would say just technical ability to handle complex situations is, I gave it a +1. I want to give that a +2.
Okay. So we have a net of...
What, do you have any influence?
No, I mean, the torque input was the most alarming for me, but everything else is so good.
It even shows traffic lights.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Yeah.
Somehow. I watch it every day in my car, and it never messes up.
It's such a good system. It's good vision. So.
It's good vision. It's better vision than I have most of the time.
And that's Elon's whole point. The whole reason he's working on this.
Oh my God, he's working on it alone. Are you one of those? This is Elon's doing, isn't it?
He's not doing it. But
no, thank you.
Yeah, but the whole reason they're working on it and the way he describes it, because he's the one who's always talking about it in front of the cameras, is that the whole point is that it's supposed to be better than a human. And it's
not better than a human right now.
But that's their goal. So.
And it does show vehicles around you.
Yep.
And you can spin around.
Woo! And sometimes it shows pedestrians all funny. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. But this visual stuff, when this first came out, was dreadful. And then just a couple software updates, they had it fixed.
It's great.
But you do feel like a beta tester on this.
Yeah.
So you got to be comfortable with that. And I think that's fun for me.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, I don't...
We're the nerds who want the beta.
Yeah, like, give me the stuff that's broken. Like, I kind of want to see where they're working on. But a lot of people just want a solid thing that works.
Yep.
So there you have it. Tesla Model 3 Performance.
7.
Wow. We thought it would be years for a car to hit 0.
It's just a good car.
It's more than that. This is the best performance car for the money. Although the new suspension isn't great, but upgrades. And it has some of the best driver assistance, the best charging network. It's the benchmark in so many ways.
Yep.
It's the new, better 3 Series.
Yep.
Thanks for watching.